Hello, everybody. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Let's see. Let's see. Thank you so much for joining. Let me do some things here. All right. Thank you all so much. I know it's been a long time. Long time. Let's see. Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm going to wait a little bit to have other people come in before starting. So thank you all for joining. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining. All right, let's see. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I know I have not done a live show in a while. Let's see. Let's send it to some other places. Let's see. Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. Let's see. Hello, everybody. So just bear with me for a minute. I have not been on here for a while. So it's taking me time to kind of reacclimate myself here. So just bear with me, please. I appreciate you. Bear with me. Let's see. Thank you all for joining. Let's see. I am trying to get used to this. Come in and let's have some live conversations, y'all. Live conversations. All right. Thank you all for joining. Just bear with me as I try to make sense of all the things I'm doing here. Let's see. All right. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all so much for joining. Just bear with me for a second here. Bear with me for a second. I do this. Got it. Got it. All right. Thank you for joining me. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you. Please do share as you come in. If you are watching via way of one of my groups, please share. I appreciate the sharing. I appreciate the subscription. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you. Join. Thank you. Let's see. Let's see what else I want to do here. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining. We're almost there. Almost there. So thank you. Got it. It's been a while since I got live, so just bear with me as I try to make sense of all of this. So bear with me, y'all. Thank you for your patience. Your patience is appreciated right now. And if you're watching via way of replay, well, thank you for your patience too. You can skip all of this, all of me trying to figure some things out. It's been a while since I got on live events on YouTube. So I thank you and appreciate your patience. Absolutely appreciate that. So thank you all so much. I'm almost there. Almost there. Let's see. Almost there. All right. I think I'm there now. Got it. All right. Thank you all so much for joining this live event. We appreciate you. All right. So, okay, cool. Cool. All right. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. All right. So for those of you who do not know me yet, of course, my name is Dr. Princess FUMI Hancock. I'm an African, a Nigerian princess that's living in diaspora, America. And of course, people call me your global vision midwife, because I help people to get their life vision, right? How many of you know that you have to birth your vision for it to come to fruition? And of course, others know me as your compassionate trauma care maestro, because that's what I do as someone who is in psychiatry, as a psychiatric provider in America. Those who also know me in Arizona, where I reside, they call me the board certified psychiatric mental health doctor of nurse practice, which is what I actually do for a living here. I run some clinics out here in Arizona. So thank you all so much for joining. I'm going to try and maybe kind of move around a little bit, just a little bit, to make things a little bit clearer. Hopefully you all are seeing me better out there than I'm seeing myself actually. So let's hope that it's working better out there. So thank you again for joining me. Today I woke up thinking to myself that I needed to just share some words. There are some word conversations that we need to have with each other, to have even with ourselves, right? And a lot of things are happening in the world right now that there are times you want to kind of like, shut your mouth and not say nothing. And other times you want to kind of bang your head against the wall or something like that, because you're a little bit frustrated about what you're hearing or perhaps seeing. And for somebody like me who is in the psychiatric, as a psychiatric provider, you kind of tend to feel a little bit down because of some of the things that you're hearing from the people that you're serving, your patients, and just watching, and you're a little bit down about the things that you watch them go through. And so there are times you want to say, okay, because when you open your mouth, you find some people kind of like, the world is so, there's so much negativity around us right now that even when you say something, they misunderstand it, or they're so eager to want to shut you down, or so eager to want to say, okay, you're wrong with what you're saying, or people are so eager to turn just simple conversations, and they're eager to turn it into a political conversation, which is not necessarily what you intend for it to be. And so I decided, okay, so once in a month, I would come out on here and just do a little bit of live conversations of things that I'm hearing, conversations of things that I'm seeing, conversations of things that we need to necessarily as a nation, be it in Nigeria, be it in any part of the world, particularly in America that I live right now. I shuttle between America and Nigeria, where we really do need to have the conversation. And so today I was just laying there. I wasn't feeling quite well, and I was laying there and I was watching a particular program, and I saw a beautiful soul. That's what I'm going to say. A beautiful soul talk about just the negativity that is surrounding us now. And how many of you know that when you are surrounded by negativity over and over and over and over again, it can affect you. It can affect the way that you live your life. It can ultimately affect the way that you actually see life as a whole. And if you are one of those that life has kind of pushed down over and over and over again, at some point you want to kind of like almost give up on life and say, what's the point? What's the use? Nobody understands me anyway. Nobody understands what I want to say. Nobody's trying to listen to my own point of view anyway. So what's the point? And so the idea of these live conversations is to help us to be able to come up here and see, and just talk a little bit about our opinions. And please bear with me, because the opinions that you hear are simply my opinions. They are simply my thoughts. They're not it doesn't mean that I'm trying to convince anybody, but it's just saying, here is a thought, here is a thinking. What do you think about it? And how do we go about understanding one another? Because frankly, I feel like the whole world is speaking different languages right now. And I come from Nigeria, where, of course, naturally, we have different languages. We have three major languages: the Yorubas, which is part of who I am, and I'm very, very glad to be a part of it. And then we have the Igbos, and boy, I have friends that are Igbos. I love them. All right. Shout out to Helen Majors and some others that I know. And of course, we have the Awusas, and I've met some beautiful souls, the Awusas right now, and it's just incredible how our culture, the Nigerian culture, is quite rich. And even within the Yorubas, right, we have over 200 dialects. So already, we're already speaking different languages, right? We're already speaking different languages in Nigeria. So now, triple that, now that, there's so much misinformation, disinformation, all kind of informations, people trying to tear each other down just because of power. Now it seems like even our languages, we don't even understand each other anymore. I'm not just speaking about Nigeria. I'm talking about even United States, where the main language is English. It just seems like we're not hearing each other. We're flat out refusing to listen to one another. And even when you have people that are saying, okay, that seem to be reasonable, yet at the end of the day, they're not really reasonable. And so life conversations is meant to help us to understand, at least pierce a little bit into the conversations that we're having in our heads, we're having amongst ourselves. And when I talk about conversations, I'm not talking about lashing at each other. I'm not talking about barking at each other. I'm not talking about balking at each other. I'm not discussing about saying some things that, everybody else is not wanting to hear. I'm not talking about saying, oh, whoa, go sit down because what you're talking about is not what I believe in. This is not a political platform. Can I just say that again? This is more of a mental health platform for me. And at times, yes, politics have a lot to play in our mental capacity, in our mental wellness. It does, either we like it or not, because of the way that we are seeing politics nowadays. It's hardly difficult not to talk about political things because it is affecting our mental wellness. I have a lot of patients right now that are actually steering clear of the television because of the political things that they listen to, because there are some things that they know is flat out lies, and they're watching our leaders spout these lies, and they know themselves that it's lies, and it is eating them up because they know it is lies, and because of that is affecting their mental capacity. And so people are just staying away from watching all these lies. So today I wanted to talk about, castrating, that word castration. Castration is like taking, for example, I want you to imagine somebody taking a knife and just cutting, if you were a man, somebody cutting off your genitals. If you are a woman, which is something, it's something that happens in some part of Africa where women are really castrated, right? Where women, they go through that with a knife or something, go through that vagina, and they, do whatever they need to do there. And we know, how many of you know that the woman ends up not being completely herself, right? So when you castrate, this time around, I'm talking about us stopping castrating each other's life stories. Stop castrating each other's history. What makes me who I am today as an African, a Nigerian princess that I'm incredibly proud of, a Nigerian princess that is living in diaspora, a Nigerian princess that comes from a southwestern region of Nigeria, which is called Imure Kingdom, where my family has ruled since the 1280s. I am completely proud of it. That is who I am. Can I say that again? That is part of my fabric. Coming from that region is part of my fabric. Even though I was born in Lagos, right? But my parents ensured and made sure that I understood where I came from. They made sure that I understood the responsibility that I carry wherever I go, be it in America, London, wherever I go, that responsibility that I carry as a Nigerian princess from that region. And when I go out, when I go everywhere that I go, I just do not represent that region. I carry myself as a Nigerian princess, which means that As a Nigerian princess, even though I come from that region, that southwestern region, I also represent my Hausa sisters and brothers. I represent my Igbo sisters and brothers. Yes, I know that some Yorubas might not want to hear that, but in diaspora, I have to carry myself as a Nigerian princess, as an African princess, so that to me, I value the rich culture that I come from. The Yoruba culture is incredibly rich. The Nigerian culture is, incredibly rich. And it is something that we have to be proud of. And because I've also lived in America for almost 40 years, I carry myself in there. Even in America, I cannot divulge myself. I cannot separate myself because I've been in Africa for that long. I cannot separate myself from Yoruba tribe. It is impossible for me to, particularly because I come from a royal family. I cannot say, okay, because I live back and forth in Africa now, in America now, so I'm just going to ignore. I'm going to allow anybody to castrate me away from the culture that I was raised in. And many of the things that I see that is going on right now is people castrating each other's stories, castrating each other's culture, castrating each other's history. My Black American family here know their history. Many of them know the history of slavery. We cannot castrate that. We cannot separate them from that. So for people who say, okay, slavery happened, you need to get over it now, I think that's preposterous. In fact, many of them are moving and thriving in spite of that history. And because they're thriving in spite of it, does it not mean that we have to castrate them from it? Does it not mean that we have to pretend that that history doesn't occur? Absolutely not. When we try to castrate people's history, when we try to castrate them and move them away from who they are, what you are essentially doing is being a dictator. That's right. And bottom line is, I've grown. I have American, Black, white friends that I even call sisters, right? I have people that are from Saudi that I call sisters. I have Africans, South Africa, that I call sisters. All of us come together because we have one common goal, which is to make sure that the world not only hear our stories as fearless visionaries, we're tearing our veils of trauma, and the truth be told that Blacks have been through trauma. And for us to now say, oh, we don't want other people to know about it, we're just going to castrate it and pretend it doesn't exist, when even our own children, Black, white, call it whatever, are saying we want to know the history because that's still part of our history. While we have the older ones say, we want to shield you from it. You don't need to know it, because when you know it, it means that you take it on. When you own it, when you know it, it means that you're being judged. Understanding each other, understanding each other's story and where we come from actually is very healthy. As a psychiatric mental health doctor of nurse practice, I cannot tell you, and I am very serious, I cannot tell you how many of my patients who are Caucasians, how many of my patients who are other tribes, and they come to me and without me asking, they say, well, Dr. Hancock, we suck you out. And I said, wait a minute, you suck me out? Why? They said, well, I'm sorry to tell you, you are a Black psychiatric mental health provider, and we've seen what you do out there. We watch your videos. Not only watch your videos, we see what you do. We see your videos. We see where you go and speak. We see how you take care. We look at your reviews, they're spectacular. So because of that, we seek you out because we know that you're not going to, you're not going to pretend. You're going to tell us like it is. Our children want to know the story. They don't want you, older people, castrating them from the history from whence they come. And so I sat here today, Sunday, and I said, what am I going to talk about today? And I began to think about that word castration. Because frankly, what we do is when we adults are trying to shield our children, be it black, be it yellow, be it white, but whatever you want to call it, and we're trying to shield them from the truth, because that's the truth. Our history, my history, your history, wherever you come from, is the truth, is the fact that our children need to know so that history does not repeat itself. I know somebody right there now is watching and saying, boy, she's being political today. But I want you to look at it from my lens. One, as a psychiatric provider, doctor of nurse practice, I'm going to underscore that, right? Two, as somebody who comes from a royal family in Nigeria, who's been through something, underscore, who knows that the Yoruba culture is just incredible, who knows that the Hausa culture is incredible, who understands that the Igbo culture is spectacular. Now, never mind if we have our differences, okay? Let's just be frank about it. We have our differences, but our differences does not have to sink our history. Can I say that again? The differences that the Yorubas might have with the Igbos, might have with the Hausas, does not have to sink our history as one. Because when we start to fight amongst ourselves and sink it, what we're doing is allowing the outside world to look and say, Nigeria as a whole is down. Down. Does that mean we don't have to tell ourselves the truth? Yes. We need to sit ourselves down and recognize our boundaries. I just said something there. Recognize our boundaries. Appreciate our boundaries. Do not try to steal from each other, but appreciating, asking questions. Not only asking questions, also demanding answers of our leaders. Also, expecting, regardless of what the past dictated, understanding that today is yet another day, and we're going to expect greatness from our leaders. Not just our leaders, but also as us human beings who put them there. So that both here in America, may it be in Europe, Britain, or Nigeria, we must stop castrating each other's life stories. We must never allow desperation for power, thirst for power, to destroy the pivotal history, rich history that we have. It is important that we also teach our children. Yes, teach our children. Which means that even if your children was born in America, even if your children was born in London, they need to know your life story. They need to understand what makes you tick the way you tick. And when leaders, true leaders, do not set out to castrate people's life stories, they do not set out, true and genuine leaders who care, not for power, but care to really, really make things great for everyone concerned in their country, do not set out to castrate each other. They're not too desperate for power that they begin to shut down each other's genius, because that's what I call it. Your culture, what makes you who you are today is your genius. That's your genius power, because frankly, when you look at leaders who wake up every day trying to stop other people from learning other people's culture, from learning other people's history, they're just mini. All they think about is power. All they think about is control. The same freedom that they are fighting and saying that they want other people to have, they want their own children to have, is that same freedom that they're trying to take away from other people's children. So quit it. Quit it. We need to stop castrating ourselves. We need to stop castrating other people's culture. We need to stop castrating other people. I know that at the end of what I'm discussing today, I'm probably going to get a few comments saying something else that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. And that's the truth. I'm probably going to hear people talk about, oh, well, we don't want our children to learn this. We don't want our children to learn that. Have you even bothered to ask your child what they want to learn? Have you even taken the time to ask your children, that same child that you are protecting, that you think you're protecting, do you know what that child has been exposed to already? Do you know? The same person, the same people that are trying to protect, they have their babies on what do you call it? On an internet 24/7. It's not going to hurt your child to know the history of slavery in America. It's not putting the responsibility on your child when your child knows and understands the background and what brought America. After all, America, means unless you tell me you are an American Indian, you came from somewhere, y'all. We all came from somewhere. And so for us to now say you only get to learn the European, that part of you that is European, and never mind, you don't need to learn anything about Black people. You don't need to learn that. I think he's preposterous. Even in Nigeria, as Yorubas, right? It's incumbent upon us to learn about our sisters and brothers at Igbo. Igbo, you need to learn about Yorubas. Awusas, we need to learn about each other, but we also need to respect our own boundaries, right? Because I set a table before you in my community, doesn't necessarily mean that I invite you to take over my community. Let me just say that again. Because I invite you to come and eat at my table, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm saying, come get the whole table and take it home with you. It simply means I'm respecting who you are. I value who you are. I value what you bring to the table. But we all still have to ask, can we eat? We can't just grab. Because I say I value you and I value what you bring to the table, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm asking you to come and grab the whole table and take it home with you. And that goes for all of us. It goes for us Yorubas. It goes for us Igbos. It goes for us Hausas. For me, I have been privileged to meet the most beautiful, beautiful people all across spectrum. And I remember before I went to Saudi to work, right? I worked in Saudi for a while. And I remember I had this preconceived notion about Muslim. And I'm telling you right now, my time in Saudi opened me up to impossibilities. It was when I was in Saudi, the things I could not even accomplish in America, I accomplished it in Saudi. I met beautiful souls in Saudi that took care of me. I met people, yes, Muslims, that were just beautiful, beautiful. They appreciated the fact that I was a Christian. They never tried to do anything besides that. We all understood each other. In fact, there were times they would come into my room and say, can you pray for me? And then I would go to their room and say, wait, can you pray for me too? This is what it means. And this is what it's going to take to stop castrating each other, to respect our own boundaries, respect our own religion, respect who they are and who we are, and value who we are and what we each bring to the table. Quit castrating each other's life stories. Quit castrating each other's culture. Quit castrating each other's history, because those who do that, the simple fact is all they're trying to do is castrate your power. They're trying to take away your power. The power that you have, that is innate to you, that God Almighty, right? Christians call it Yeshua. Muslims say, Allah. And those who don't believe in either, I don't know what they say, but they say the Creator, because they still know that there is a Creator. It is not my right to tell you how to worship. It is not my right to tell you what to worship or who to worship or how to worship. I know what my word says, right? And I'm privileged that when I was at University of Ife in Nigeria, I studied Islam for 2 years. Yes, I was going to church every Sunday, and I literally decided, something in me told me that I needed to study Islam. I needed to study the Quran. And boy, 40 years later, do you know that a book that I wrote, Quit Your Job in 90 Days, took me to London, to one of the biggest, the largest venue called the O2, where I met women, Muslim women from all over the world. And boy, it was awesome. Not only met them, I got to sit in front of them and I got to share. And would you know that after sharing with them, till today, I'm still connected with a lot of these Muslim women. And every time they're calling me, when are you going to come back to London to come and speak to us again? Can you imagine that? Me, a Christian, them, Muslim. But we had a common goal. We were women who wanted the best for our families. We're women who wanted the best for our children. We're women together who wanted the best for our communities and our countries at large. This is what happens when you allow the power that is innate in each and everybody to come forth without castration. So I invite you to write your comments. I'm going to try and read some of the comments later. I'm going to try to respond to some of it if I can, right? And I'm going to hope that whatever it is that you say will be what I can respond to. I ask you to join me in this journey of life conversations. I ask you to join me so that we can begin to understand each other, regardless of culture, regardless of where we come from. Because frankly, I think it's time for women, because some of our men are just doing whatever they want to do. They just are out there, you know. We have people that are just bashing each other because your guy is not on seat today doesn't mean that your guy will not be on seat tomorrow. So why are you trying to destroy the same thing that you say you want to save? You know, that's the thing that I don't understand. Why are you right now, we have some leaders in different parts of the world just trying to kill democracy. They're doing everything to bash the persons that are in seat right now, because they feel like if they bash that person enough, they can move that person away and they cannot get in. But here's the deal. If you even succeeded in that, assuming you succeeded in that, you'll have destroyed a whole lot, that even when you get in there, it will take the act of God for you now to come back to the same people that you have literally lied to and say, okay, now it's time. It's time to heal. It's time to help the country move to the next level. How are you going to do that when you have spent years destroying that which you say, you now want to say. That's something to think about. So please, until next time, be inspired, be motivated, be of sentimental value. Understand that you are the hero in your life story. Don't allow anybody to write it. Understand that it is absolutely wrong to start to castrate each other or castrate our life stories or castrate history. Our history is brilliant. Our history is what makes us who we are today. It checks us and it inspires us. Can I say that again? Our history checks us and inspires us. And because of that, our children, regardless of race, they are entitled to know that, because it will inspire them, it will motivate them to greatness, and it will also check them for the future. Bye for now.